It's a bonus episode. We're talking Stranger Things. Hit it. It was 2016. Leonardo DiCaprio won an Oscar. Batman and Superman finally met on screen, and Mike 11 and their friends fought interdimensional creatures in the 80s and searched for Will using a Christmas-like communication system. I'm your host, Jerry D, with another episode of Totally Rad Christmas, the podcast that talks all things Christmas in the 80s. Toys, movies, specials, music, and fads. If it was gnarly during Christmas in the 80s, we got it covered. Now, joining me, Mike Wheeler, is a whole 80s gang of Totally Rad Christmas All-Stars and one new guest. Our cast of characters are as follows. From A Cozy Christmas as Will Byers, it's Art Kilmer. Hey, Art, how's it going?
Good. Going well.
Right on. From Tis the Podcast, our very own Dustin Henderson, it's Anthony Caruso. Anthony, what's happening, man?
I have the pearliest whites you've ever seen. However, I can't believe you cast me as Dustin. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you for having me on.
You know, if the shoe fits, just saying.
I object to this casting too.
Well, I'm sorry, guys. You got what you got, and or what is it? You get what you get, and you don't throw a fit.
Well, I like what I got. It's Anthony's I got a problem with.
Oh no!
Oh, who would you have cast me as?
Most
Hopper.
annoying character on the show, probably.
No, I would have cast you as Hopper.
Oh,
Thank
snap.
you.
Well, let's keep going because this could turn ugly really quick. So from Feliz Christmas, Merry Navidad, it's Lucas Sinclair himself, Manny Torres. Manny, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing all right, brother.
Awesome.
Now, joining us new on the podcast from No More Late Fees podcast as telekinetic telepathic wonder 11, it's Danielle Clarke. Danielle, how's it going?
Good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming on. I'm excited for you to actually be on the show.
Same.
Right on. And finally, saving the best from last, from Christmas Conversations as Chief Jim Hopper, it's CJ. CJ, what's happening?
I want to thank you for this beautiful casting because everybody here knows that you are all my sons and daughters. I am Hopper. I am the alpha. I am the leader. This was perfect casting.
You could have at least made me Steve.
I just would have made you the monster, but
then we wouldn't have the whole gang. We wouldn't have the whole party.
This was perfect casting. I am the one who knocks.
There you go.
That's a Heisenberg quote, though.
This is gonna be fun. I'm so excited. I love Stranger Things. It perfectly captures the 80s, and as Julia from Tis the Podcast said, it's more 80s than the 80s itself. What are y'all's like thoughts and histories with it? Like Danielle, how are you with Stranger Things? Like, what's your experience?
I was really surprised at how much I liked the show, and then really surprised how my entire family liked it. It was so nostalgic. I'm an early 80s baby, but there's still some stuff that I didn't really experience, but it just feels, it got the time period right. So I love it.
Right on. What about you, Art?
I first started watching it just a year or two ago, a couple of years. Seasons 1 and 2 were out, and my wife and I were looking to watch something on Sunday nights. We have a tradition where we watch a movie or something and eat pizza after the kids go to bed.
Nice.
Yeah, like a little mini at-home date night. So we thought we'd try this out, and I was hooked from the first episode. It was great, and all the 80s nostalgia just probably helped some.
Hop, what about you? That's you, CJ.
Oh, you said Hop?
I did say Hop.
I was about to say, he's so not Hopper, he doesn't even register the name when you say Hopper.
Well, he called art, so I don't know. But
Well,
anyway, my history with it is I wasn't like really into it. The first episode I watched, and then I gave it a second try. I wasn't really hyped up. I knew it was coming out, and I watched the second episode and I was hooked. I fell in love with like Millie Bobby as a character and an actress, even at that age.
Yeah. She
really drew me in because I felt like with a look, she could say more than a lot of actors that are even older could say in a paragraph. Just the look she gave, how vulnerable she would seem. I just thought she was phenomenal. And she got me hooked onto it. And as my kids got older, they actually just watched it for the first time a couple months ago. So I got to relive it with them, and they're huge fans.
Nice.
So one of them is going out as 11 for Halloween this year. She wants to be early 11. She wants the blue jacket and the pink dress.
And the pink dress, yeah.
Yeah. So that's my history with that.
That's cool. What about you, Manny?
I'm going to piggyback off of CJ. Is the same thing. I tried watching it a few times and turned it off. And one day I decided just to go past, first, second, third episode. And I'm just not waiting for the next season, So it's addicting.
Yeah, it really is pretty good. And Anthony, what about you?
Save the best for last.
You casted him right. Look at him. He's a klutz.
I hate this show. No, I'm kidding.
That's it.
So everyone who listens to any of these Christmas podcasts know I am the baby of the network. I was born at the very end of the 80s, but didn't really get to live in the 80s. Having said that, I'm a huge fan of 80s television, movies, comics, everything. 80s, to quote Jerry, it's a raddest decade. It just is. Like it's the last iconic decade in my mind. So, sorry to Danielle, who hosts a 90s podcast, but the 90s were cool too. But having not experienced the 80s myself, my idea of the 80s comes from the various media, and Stranger Things embodies exactly what in my mind the 80s was, even though I never experienced it myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
But I love everything about the show, the acting, the writing, the set decoration, the awesome music. It's great. And I want to piggyback off something CJ said as well about Millie Bobby Brown. Like, man, I have a problem with a lot of kid actors. That's no secret.
Yeah, you do.
My show. But she knocks it out of the park from episode 1. And, I've loved seeing how her career has grown past Stranger Things. Still waiting for a Millie Bobby Brown, Emma Watson movie where they play sisters, because that's got to happen at some point.
And you know who should play her mom? Elizabeth Perkins. Somebody on TikTok said that they look exactly the same, and I cannot unsee it.
They do. That should 100% happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I guess at this point it's probably grandma.
No, take that back.
I love Elizabeth Perkins, but I'm age-wise, I think she's a little bit.
She's getting older. Yeah.
I mean, she was in the latest 2 seasons of Curb Your Enthusiasm, so she's hanging out with people that age.
Well, that's true. Touche. You win.
But no, I do.
I loved her since Big. I remember. Got me.
And David Harbour. I am so glad David Harbour's career took off from this show as well, because he is so great. Well, he's so fun and lovable to watch, and maybe I relate to him because I'm that lovable grump too. Like but he's just awesome. And we'll get into it when we talk season 1, but I loved his arc too, because when he's first introduced, you think, oh, typical 80s incompetent cop, but he bucks that trend and he's actually really competent and effective as a police officer.
Yeah, I mean the whole show, and I mean I started watching it, I think it was when season 2 was about to come out, and so I decided to go ahead and watch season 1 as preparation. I hadn't seen it. Everyone was like, dude, you're gonna love it. It's like, fine, whatever. So I watched it. I loved it. Saw season 2 right away. It was also great, and then couldn't wait till season 3. But the show in general, it started in 2016. It was really created by the Duffer Brothers, who incorporated stuff from like Stand By Me all the way to Stephen King. There's very Spielbergian elements to it as well. And they basically just kind of originally were going to set it as, it was going to be called Montauk, and it was going to be set in like the Northeast area. And
New
then, yeah, exactly. And so they just kind of didn't really go with it. And so they kind of decided it would be easier if they set it in a fictional town. And so Hawkins, Indiana was born. It's gotten like 39 Emmy nominations, 4 Golden Globe nominations. I mean, it's just all sorts of awards and accolades. But basically, season 1 is set in 1983, November of 1983. Then a year later, season 2 happens in 84, October specifically, because Halloween's about to hit. And then the third season is that summer of 85. So it's kind of sequential as far as it goes. But if we want to nutshell it, essentially, there's like I said in my intro, some little kids kind of have to deal with some interdimensional beings and shenanigans ensue.
Could we talk for a moment, just because you mentioned it there, Jerry,
Go
about
for it.
all the homages throughout the show to other
there's
media?
like so many.
Right, like season 1 especially.
Where do you want to start? Like we'll just there's like a long list, but go ahead.
Season 1 especially had so many Spielbergian images, especially with the bikes. Like that chase was E.T. I was just waiting for those bikes to take off over the cop cars.
Yeah,
right.
For example.
But instead, the cop car flies over them,
which was awesome. Yeah,
which was awesome.
And you mentioned all the Stephen King references as well. I saw something really cool. I think one of the Duffer Brothers joked about it at one point. It would be cool if they ended the show, but then did like it with the same cast grown up like 10 years from now, where they return to town after like the evil emerges again.
Oh, that would be cool, actually.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, I could dig that.
That's definitely a reboot for sure. And then they'd be in a different decade, so even more homages.
They'd be in like the 90s. So then
they'd be right up your alley.
Yeah, I'll do part 2 on my podcast.
Oh, that would be
awesome.
All right.
Oh, man. But I mean, let's kind of just talk seasons in general. So the first season really focused on the disappearance of Will Byers. So he goes missing in episode 1. And from there, it's about trying to find him. And so it kind of has this weird mesh of like police procedural, missing person thriller with, just supernatural kind of creepy, Pet Cemetery kind of thing. And so I think they kind of combine it just really well. The first season is still my favorite season. What about y'all? Yeah.
I like that was very, and this goes for X-Files and Supernatural and all those shows as well. They weren't bogged down by their mythology as much in season 1. It was a very self-contained story, whereas later seasons they expanded the mythology, which is awesome, but then the plot lines kind of got more complicated and not convoluted, but you really had to pay attention more, where season 1 really leaned more into the fun. Yeah. And I just really enjoyed season 1 the best of all of them so far.
And it does, of course, have the highest Rotten Tomatoes score. Not that really means anything. It just means that, that many people out of everyone loved it. But still, it does kind of reflect a little bit.
I would say that Rotten Tomatoes is a good guideline at times. But yeah, there are like the few times that we don't agree with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a good guideline when you agree with them.
I just don't know how a movie like Interstellar gets something like 73% or something. But anyway,
I know it deserved 30. No, I'm joking. That movie is amazing. That should have had like a 90 something.
Yeah, well,
I've never seen Interstellar.
Yeah, I never have either.
Watch it. Good. It's in my top 5.
I did see Tenet. Does that count?
that doesn't count as a film.
Tenet was interesting.
Tenet was visually beautiful.
I'm still not sure what I saw with Tenet.
Christopher Nolan took it to the next level and then rewound it.
It's funny, and I know we're getting off topic here, but Christopher Nolan, like it's like he tries to outdo himself with like how heady he can get with his movies. Like this one will be even more cerebral.
Like Inception was fantastic, but then when you take, and even Interstellar does the same thing in a way with time, with traveling to space and the slowing down of time and black holes, things like that. But then with Tenet, he just maybe I left there and I'm like, I got to watch it again. Maybe I'm not smart enough, but a lot of people left there just kind of like, huh?
Yeah,
it was tough. So he wrapped it in on itself like 4 times. It was like playing 3D chess. I don't know.
That's why I'm so surprised for his Batman movies. He didn't lean into the Riddler as a villain and do a cerebral detective story.
He wasn't there yet. He elevates it each time. So
yeah, that's true.
not to get too off topic, but the fact
Too
that
late.
they were going to have,
late.
I think Bane trying
Not a
to break
podcast if you
Joker.
don't go off topic.
Yeah, I think they were going to try to have Bane break Joker out of Arkham Asylum before Heath Ledger died. I think those were the plans. And
That was my understanding that
it just hurts me that
Joker
didn't
was
happen,
also
but
going to be an antagonist in the third. Yes.
yeah. So
But
The
we'll get
things that
into
could have
that when we
been, but-
talk my Batman episode.
yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah.
You know,
ahead.
another TV show that I feel is, kind of a pair, I guess, for Stranger Things is Freaks and Geeks. I think that was one of the things that I really loved about the show because it just felt very similar. And I love that show. I was devastated when it got canceled. I know that's
me
more
too.
of the 70s, but 70s, 80s mix there. But
I've never seen Freaks and Geeks.
oh, wow. Yeah, it's
Oh,
really
you
good.
should.
I saw it
worth
when it came
watching.
out and I haven't seen it since, but I remember liking it.
My wife loves it. She always tries to get me to watch it.
I mean, that launched the careers of a lot of the modern day comedic
That's true.
actors.
Yeah.
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 They were all in that.
And Judd Apatow's
Yeah.
career.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you ignore heavyweights, which I like to do.
Yeah, you and me both.
What I liked about really all three seasons, but especially the first one,
Mhm.
I like the combining of genres with you got your, like you're saying, your police detective show, but then there's that supernatural twist to it, and I really like that that bringing in those two different types together into one story. It's pretty fun.
Well, it was done really well. I think,
Mm.
and like when you contrast it with season three is almost like there's this whole supernatural subplot. And then completely over on the other side is like the almost Red Dawn, Russians invading, Cold War kind of subplot. And
Yeah.
eventually they merge. But I feel like in that first one, the police procedural and the other one are overlaid, instead of like two separate things that just kind of merge at the end. And so it just feels a little more cohesive, I think.
Mhm.
But I mean, I love it. I think they did great. The language they nailed, when they say things like wastoids, that's
Yeah.
that's
I
terrible.
mean,
I might be saying that later.
the iconography in season one with the Christmas lights, like they
Yeah.
never.
Yeah.
I feel like they
Yeah.
haven't hit something that iconic in later seasons. There have been awesome things, but when you think of Stranger Things, you think of those lights and the letters on the wall.
And the
But I
letters on the
also-
wall, yeah.
I also
I wanted
like
to do
that
that,
they
but it creeped me out.
I like that they didn't try to just redo it though.
Yeah,
It
that's
was
true.
great, and you didn't see them try to just repurpose the Christmas lights and do it all over again. Like they
Yeah.
try to move away from it. I like that.
Well, that's why we're covering it, because of the Christmas lights and because season one ends on Christmas.
Good enough for me. Yeah.
But that's why it's also a bonus episode, because it's 80s adjacent.
Yeah, I'm curious, Danielle, with the 90s podcast, do you ever stretch? Because Jerry is the 80s, but he really spans from like 75 to
I really
like
go for like
99.
77 to 93 ish. I give like 3 years grace period on either side.
We have stretched twice, and we're fairly new, so we haven't had a lot of episodes. For my birthday episode, I did Crooklyn, which was in 94, and we tried to stick it from 95 to 2005. And then we did a double feature for summer camp and did Heavyweights and Camp Nowhere. But
Camp Nowhere.
and Camp Nowhere is 94. But I think both those movies were worth it. So yeah, we stretch a little bit, but not too much.
Well, the 80s didn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
There was some overlap.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess technically it did, from December 31st, 79 to 1980, but culturally it didn't. But who's y'all's like favorite characters or out of everyone?
Hopper at
I'll
11.
start.
Hopper and
In
11.
season
That's good.
one? In
Yeah,
season one?
Yeah.
I gotta give it up for my girl. Well, I like the Breyer. It's the Bryers, the whole family, right?
The
Byers,
Byers, yeah.
the Byers.
Yeah.
And is Deb the one that goes missing?
Will goes missing.
No, remember? Well,
Barb.
Barb.
Barb, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Justice for Barb. Poor
Justice
Barb.
for Barb. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say my favorite in season one, and really just all the seasons, is 11. I just absolutely adore Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see her in the future if she continues and wants to act. I think we're going to see her as a mainstay at Oscars and things. I think she's that good if she can progress. And I just love her character, and the way she evolves is I just love her to death.
If she can stay safe and she can stay sane in Hollywood, then yes.
Yeah,
If she
I
can,
agree.
whatever
She seems to
Emma
have that going for
Watson
her. Like
Yeah.
on her Instagram, she seems as level-headed as she can be. She's very popular and very rich. So I think she has really. I think she.
I
has
mean,
good
she did.
people
She
around
did
her.
have that one breakdown where people kept bothering her.
Yeah.
Not too long ago. Like,
Oh, with
I
the
felt really
boyfriend
bad
saying
for her.
some pretty. The
Well,
ex saying he was out of line. That was not her. She was kind of brought into that. So he said some
Well,
out of line stuff.
And David
but
Harbour.
sorry, I just wanted to just say there was that other incident too where she fans just wouldn't leave her alone. She asked them to have her picture taken on the street, and they just kept following her and harassing her, going after her with cameras and forcing her to take pictures of them.
And
I think they're
recently,
entitled
David Harbour
to-
came out and said that he was really actually concerned for her. Just with everything, with that boyfriend coming out and saying stuff, and just predators pretty much coming after her in a sense.
Yeah.
So I hope her parents kind of double up and just are surrounding her, and she's got good people around her, because it's no coincidence that all of these, Hollywood kids end up doing drugs and alcohol. It's for a reason.
But you think about it, it's hard for like adults to cope sometimes. So especially with fame and like everything that's available.
You add fame in the amount of money that they're making. They really need to, they're just children. So their brains are still growing. They're still developing. Yeah. And just to have these different things thrown in, man, like people are like, oh, you got it made when you have money. Well, when you're a kid and you have money and fame and you never really got a chance to grow, it's actually tougher than you think, I would think.
Yeah.
Especially with the exposure nowadays. I mean, the 70s, 80s, 90s, they didn't see the world from, their phones. So you're exposed to so much other stuff, and you read the good and the bad and all the things that go through their heads, because there's people that actually dedicate themselves just to throw that toxicity out there. Just like there's a lot of people that, dedicate themselves to these fan clubs and stuff just to build them up. But, as humans, we're always going to lean towards,
wow, this got pretty heavy pretty quick.
Stuff, so.
I'm gonna bring it back here, Jerry, and say I said Hopper and 11. They've been my favorites from season 1 through the current season. I love their relationship and how that's developed. I just love how they've developed.
Really good. He's had like a legit arc.
Yeah. I love how he's become the reluctant savior of both the town and these kids constantly.
I love how he wears Magnum PI shirts in
in the newest season
3.
Yes.
But I love. Go ahead, Art. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say I like Hopper and 11, and Dustin has really grown on me.
The part that he does.
Yep.
You know who else has had an arc that I hated in season 1? Well, not hated, but I really disliked in season 1, but I grew to really kind of enjoy, is Steve.
Yes. He would be my third favorite. Like he went from like the school, like heartthrob, bully, bad boy kind of guy, the Johnny from Karate Kid, to kind of like a goofy, not big brother,
but kind of big brother, essentially. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say, he has one of my favorite lines where he says something like, I might be a crappy boyfriend, but I'm a dang good babysitter.
Yeah. Yep. He does say that in season 2.
Yeah.
It's funny. Really I only remember certain quotes from the show because I've really only watched it through maybe 3 times. I watched it twice myself and then once with my kids. So I'm not that great with quotes yet.
I gotcha.
For me, it was always the kids, like the group of kids.
Yeah, the party.
I grew up with movies like Stand By Me, The Sandlot, and stuff like that. So, I mean,
that's like spooky Goonies, essentially.
Yeah.
The Goonies,
Yeah.
I've never watched the whole movie of the Goonies, but
you should.
It's okay.
Jerry, pause this for 2 hours. CJ, go watch that. Come back.
I've watched the first probably like 45 minutes.
I gotcha.
So I love the part when to like open the door or whatever, he makes him like lift up his shirt and shake his belly and go crazy.
The truffle shuffle.
Yeah.
You have to look up the the Jurassic Park ties after you watch it.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does seem like he's dressing like them. Yeah, so for me, I mean, of course, Hopper is fun. 11 is always great. I actually really enjoyed Winona Ryder's character.
Yes, Joyce.
Joyce, that's right. The desperate mom struggling to, everybody thinks she's crazy, but like she's not. And,
wasn't this almost like a redemption for her? Like
I was about to say, I like that.
This was, it was.
Yeah.
Because I think she had that like stealing issue, and then she really came on and she knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, there was
really
a lot of years in between there. She had a lot of drama because she had like a falling out.
Yeah, it was like that kleptomaniac thing. Yeah.
She stole from a store, and then she got blacklisted, and then she got in a fight with Gwyneth Paltrow.
Oh yeah.
She said that Gwyneth Paltrow stole her role in Shakespeare in Love.
And then she got relegated to guest roles on like Friends, where she made out with Rachel in college. And
I mean, they get on Friends. I don't know if that's regular.
She can still hear those coconuts.
That's true. That's true.
Friends, the heyday to get on there. I think that's pretty damn awesome.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, Bruce Willis did it too. So
yeah, he lost a bet.
Julia
That's
Roberts.
why he did it.
He lost a bet. He did it for free, right?
Yeah.
Well, Julia Roberts was on.
And that was because she was dating what's his face.
All right. I guess I don't have any good
Sorry.
Touche,
I love Friends.
No, that's okay. But one thing that I really enjoyed about all of it was like they brought a lot of, because I'm a comic book geek. I admit it. I like sci-fi, fantasy, stuff like that. And so I liked how they brought no
idea.
Yeah,
I think nowadays that's not really anything.
No, nowadays
that you
it's
have
cool.
but
back in the day, growing up, it was like, oh, nerd. But I like how they brought like Dungeons and Dragons into it, and they kind of tied that creature, into it. So it's a Demogorgon. They kind of name it after that creature from D&D. So
it's such a cool design too.
It's a very cool design. Yeah, it's like face opens up.
So creepy.
Yeah,
I have the ornament for my Christmas tree.
Oh, do you really? The Hallmark one?
The Hallmark one.
Nice.
Yeah. I did not get the 11 one to go with it though, because I didn't think it looked like her.
I mean, whenever you're trying to sculpt real people, it's always a little bit harder to me than just
get an Eggo's ornament and it'll be good.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Eggo's forever remind me of Stranger Things now.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
So search it on Google. You get a lot more Stranger Things than actual waffles.
I was gonna make a joke there, but it's not appropriate.
I appreciate it, so I don't.
I'll tell you guys off
editing.
the air.
Yeah, tell us when we're done. But there's just you're right. There's so many '80s tie-ins. The outfit that 11 wears, that pink dress with the wig and everything, that's kind of an homage to E.T. as well. So not just a bike ride. I mean, everything about it is just really cool.
And she was the one who decided to grow her hair back for future seasons because she didn't want to shave it again. So that's why she grew her actual hair.
I wouldn't
back.
want to either.
Yeah.
I actually,
of course, I'm already losing it. So
me too. So.
When they first get cast, they're all on board to do it all, but once they know they need them, they're like, "Yeah, I'm not going to do that anymore." And there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, that's like my favorite joke in Ghostbusters, which is when the Marshmallow Man explodes and everybody's just covered in marshmallows except Bill Murray, who just has like the tiniest bit on it. He's like, "No, I'm not doing that. I was slimed already. Forget it." Oh man. So the name of episode 3 was Holly Jolly, and that's where she that's where she realizes Will's communicating with lights, and so she takes out the Christmas lights and really starts to see that he's actually talking to her, which is kind of creepy when you think about it. Like
it's like a Ouija board on the wall.
Yeah, exactly. That's really what it is, which is crazy because I work in a Christmas store. So like every time I walk in, I'm like, okay, who's going to be trying to communicate with me now?
the light flickers. And Jerry's like, is that you, Santa?
And then I do really enjoy as well how it ends on Christmas with what's her name? Natalia Dyer. I don't remember the name of her character. Nancy, where Nancy gives Jonathan a camera because Steve had broken it earlier when they got into a fight.
I wanted to bring up Nancy's character, Natalie Dyer, whatever her name is. Natalia or Natalie?
It's Natalia. Yeah.
Natalia Dyer. She's another one I like. There is not a weak link amongst this whole cast, and that's a testament to the showrunners and how they put together the show.
Yeah.
And I love how Netflix is using so much of the cast in other stuff now.
Yeah.
I like that.
I admit I watched Dustin's reality scary hitting camera.
I gave that one try and I said,
is it good?
No.
It's no Impractical Jokers.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's good for kids. Like kids would get a kick out of it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is it like
it's no scare.
like Punk'd?
You remember Scare Tactics? It's kind of like it's a kid's version of Scare Tactics. If you remember that on Sci-Fi from back in the day.
Okay. I don't, but okay. I'll take your word for it.
It's a scary version of Punk'd, essentially. Yeah.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
Scary, like kids scary.
Oh, quote unquote scary. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I mean, and good for them. I'm glad that they're getting work. I'm excited to see Ghostbusters 3. You know, the new one, Afterlife.
Or somebody referred to it on Twitter, Stranger Things season 4.
I was about to say I get a very Stranger Things vibe from it. It helps that Finn Wolfhard is also in there.
Yes. I've been waiting so long for that to release.
I know. There was a video game on I think was it PlayStation that was essentially like Ghostbusters 3. All the original cast returned. There was a whole story, and they're like training a new Ghostbusters, which actually it's kind of a great seg into season 2 where they all dress up as Ghostbusters for Halloween.
I love that.
Yeah, me too.
That was like the picture they used for like solid, what was it? Almost a year. That was the first thing you've seen.
That was the whole marketing was kind of based around that. And my favorite joke in that whole thing was when they're both not Will, what's his name? Both Mike and Lucas dress up as Venkman. And he's like, "You got to be Winston." He's like, "Why do I have to be Winston?"
I should have said the same thing about being all the girl parts later.
Yeah. Well, I can do it, but it's my voice is just not that great.
I mean, I should have been Hopper, maybe. No?
Oh yeah,
wrong answer.
If you want to trade Dustin for 11, I will make that trade.
Tuesday. I guess I really am Mike. Sorry. My bad. But it was really cool. And I thought their ways of like creating their proton packs and everything was pretty ingenious because, you know, they did have proton pack toys back then, but they were pretty expensive. And, you know, I don't see all of them being able to purchase them, especially Will. I mean, the buyers seemed like they were a little bit struggling more financially.
That's what I thought that too. I'm like, how do they afford these?
Yeah, and you could tell there was like vacuum parts and just you know, things like that. And so again, it reminded me of like when I was growing up and my mom would make like my Halloween costumes. I was Teen Wolf one year, so she literally found like some
which version?
Come on, Michael J. Fox, of course. There's only one version.
I 100% agree.
Funny thing is, I do like Teen Wolf too.
I like it too, but as like a separate movie. I don't even think of it as a continuation or anything.
Agreed. Yeah,
that's the way to do it.
Agreed.
Because if you view it as a sequel, it's awful.
Yeah, as most sequels are.
Except Home Alone 2.
Except The Dark Knight.
The exception to the rule.
Oh God.
Empire Strikes
Well,
Back.
Terminator 2 is pretty awesome too.
Yeah, I like Terminator 2 better than Terminator 1.
Yeah. A lot of people do. Yeah. I get that. I kind of go back and forth. Like some days I love Terminator 2 and it's awesome, but then other days I just really appreciate the first for like its guerrilla filmmaking style. And
that's why I'm like with The New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. I'm constantly going back and forth between those two.
Star Wars is garbage, guys. Come on, let's move on.
Better than Star Trek.
I'm shocked at the words. I'm surprised God himself didn't strike you down just now.
I've watched one Star Wars movie. It was a Phantom Menace. I was
that's why.
Oh, well,
that's why. No
kidding
wonder.
me?
What'd you do that for? You watched like the worst one.
I watched The Mandalorian, and that was fun.
Mandalorian's awesome. Yeah,
we did Phantom Menace on our podcast, and we tore it apart. It was awful.
Oh, it was awful, man.
Still better than Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, I am mad we'll have to do that next year. I'm so sad.
I only agreed to go because one of the girls I liked in school was going, so I sat beside her. And that was the only reason.
So wait, so you agreed to go and then sat behind her?
No, I sat beside her.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, what kind of agreement was this? That sounded kind of creepy.
Did you even get a date afterwards? Like,
Yeah, it's a
Was it
complicated
worth
situation.
it?
Like there was like two girls in school. Me and my friend would always switch. So there was one girl, I'd date her, and then we'd break up, and then he'd date her, and then I'd date the other girl. So it was one of them. This happened from like grade 5 to 8.
A little
Anyway.
creepy, but
I do not have any experiences or friends like that. That sounds
Yeah,
I don't
no.
either, man.
Grade
girl,
5 and
girl
6, we were
code
not-
would
it's
say
not
no
like
to
we were-
that.
We were not doing crazy things. It was just kissing. Relax, guys.
That's like Saved by the Bell, right?
still.
I guess that is kind of like Saved by the Bell. Yeah.
Except
Okay,
it's
never
just
mind.
Zach dating everybody because that's
I'm
all.
so
happened on
excited.
Saved by the Bell.
I'm so excited.
I'm so scared.
Oh man, classic. I was just listening.
In history. We are really getting off topic. here.
We are, yeah.
Where
Let's
are
get
we?
back.
And
to
it's
season
mostly
2
my
here.
fault.
So
what else is new?
at the end of season 1, they rescue Will. Hopper and Joyce go into the Upside Down, which is like that supernatural dimension that he kind of was trapped in. They rescue him, but the Demogorgon or the Mind Flayer, whoever, had gotten to him and
Essentially
implanted
possessed him.
with what's that?
It's
basically
essentially
like
a
the
form of
alien
possession.
Yeah.
But we never even talked about the fact that Matthew Modine is in here, and I love that's one of the things that happens in this show is that obviously you have a younger cast, but you're sprinkling in 80s stars.
Yeah. Well, Winona Ryder, yeah.
You have Winona Ryder, you have Carrie L. Slater, Modine. You have Sean Astin later.
Yeah.
So
And that's
I like
that's
Sean
something.
Astin.
Rudy,
Oh, I do too.
Rudy.
I do want to say though, Danielle, that's something I love about. I love when filmmakers do that in movies, right? Like if you go back to Donner Superman, okay, let's cast our lead as a virtual unknown, but everyone around him as these really well-known actors to give him credence.
yeah.
Gene Hackman, yeah.
Yeah, Gene Hackman. I love when movies do that. It's kind of like Christian Bale was not huge before Batman Begins, but let's put
That's
him
what I
next to
love
Michael
when-
Caine and Liam
Yeah.
Neeson and
When
Morgan Freeman.
When they do that kind of casting, it's my favorite too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons I was upset when they were rebooting Batman. They went with Ben Affleck, and I'm like, this is going to be so bad. And then he ended up being pretty decent. I gotta give him his credit.
And then Harry Potter did it, right? Cast kids who have nothing to their name, but then like put the biggest British actors ever as all their teachers.
Never
Like,
seen
so
Harry Potter either.
I love that.
I'm
did
so
this in
sorry,
Stranger
Jerry.
Things.
It was really nice being on the podcast, but I have to go. DJ keeps saying some stuff, and I don't know if I can deal with this anymore.
I didn't say I didn't like it. I just said I've never seen it.
I know. I just don't know what.
I met my wife on a Harry Potter website.
Okay. hold
Oh
on, let me
my
ask you-
God! Wow.
Let me ask you a
Oh,
question.
oh,
then.
no.
Have you watched The Sopranos? Have you watched
Yes.
Breaking Bad? Have you watched
Yes.
Fargo? True Detective?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so we like a lot of things. I just never got into that stuff.
I liked how you were going to try to spin it. So to say that, well, you haven't seen anything. I like the
Anyways.
classics.
Right on.
I like everything, but I just didn't get into those.
Let
Okay,
me call.
no worries.
Let me call
Jer-
Todd right here. Hey, Todd, I have somebody for the
Jerry,
melee.
we have to get. Yeah, I was about to say, Jerry, we have to get Danielle for a melee.
Yeah,
I know.
sure.
Yeah, she would.
Mary Melee.
She would destroy the rest of
Well, then maybe we shouldn't.
We'll explain to her what it is after if she doesn't already know.
Yeah.
Oh, we were talking about.
We
before
kind
you
of
hopped
mentioned
on.
a little bit. Season 2 introduced some new characters. So we had Max, Mad Max, who was a new girl in school and is like pretty awesome at like video games and skateboarding, and they try to get her to join the party.
Is she the manic pixie girl in this show with her like being everything a guy would like?
No, this is the redhead kid, right?
Yeah. She likes everything
But,
that
yeah,
the boys
Oh,
like.
She's into
okay.
skateboarding. She's into yeah.
I
I
thought
know
you-
what you're saying. Yeah, I think you're right.
I misunderstood what you're saying. I was thinking of when you
Anthony
said
doesn't
that,
like redheads,
Steve's-
apparently.
I love redheads. I was thinking of
The 80s taught me to love redheads. So Tila, Scarlett, April O'Neil. I mean, I could keep going, but I won't.
No, when you
April
said
O'Neil.
the manic with the pixie cut, I was actually thinking of Steve's ice cream girlfriend. When you
Oh
said that.
yes,
So-
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
But she actually takes a spin on that. So yeah,
Yeah,
I get
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We also have Max's brother, who is the stereotypical 80s boy.
Yeah. He's got like the super tight jeans and the
Right down
the
to the
haircut
violence
and
too. Like that's an
everything.
80s
Honestly, though,
trope.
does
How
anybody
violent
not
the
get
bullies
him
were.
confused with Zac Efron? He looks just like him in this.
He does
A
kind of look
little
like Zac
bit.
Efron. Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks like a
You're
double.
right.
Like it's crazy.
Yeah, he really did. But we also got Bob. So that's Joyce's new boyfriend, Winona Ryder's new boyfriend. It's Samwise Gamgee, Sean Astin.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Justice for Bob.
I almost died when someone on Twitter referenced him as the guy from Stranger Things, and I was like, hold on. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
His kid is adorable and it's on the new Mighty Duck show on Disney.
That is his son.
Really?
He looks just like it. I just
Yeah.
got it. I'm making
Which-
a TikTok about that. That's awesome.
Isn't it an awesome show too in general? Let's be real.
I haven't seen it yet.
I love it.
Another
I love
one
all
that's on my
Mighty
back
Ducks.
burner. So eventually I'll get to it. But we get Paul Reiser also. And he's kind of playing the opposite of his role in Aliens, where he was the corporate, do anything you can to get what you want kind of guy. And here he's actually empathetic. He actually kind of cares for the kids. And so I thought that was kind of a nice little role reversal for Paul Reiser.
I do want to give out a shout out to the actor Rob Morgan, who plays Officer Powell. I just love him. He's a character actor. If you see him in anything else, but you just love him. He gets a very small role, but he plays the hell out of it. And I just love him. He's one of the, it's like one of Hopper's deputies or whatever. He's just real chill.
Oh,
in the background.
he's Turk, right? From Daredevil?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a great actor, actually.
Oh, he's so good.
I'm surprised he doesn't get more things. You're right. He's very underutilized.
Yes.
But when he's there, he nails it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to another character actor, and he's I don't know if he first appeared in season 2 or 3. It's been a while since I rewatched the reporter, like the kind of disgraced reporter.
Yeah, he does. Brett Gelman as Murray
He's
Bowman.
so funny.
I love.
He's
Brett
hilarious,
Gelman.
but he's such a great character actor in everything he's in. Yeah, I love that dude. So when he popped up, I was like, "Oh my god, this guy!"
And he plays paranoid really well.
Yeah, he does.
If you like him, watch the show Fleabag on Amazon. He's hilarious.
I love that show.
Yeah.
That's such a good show.
Yeah, Brett Gelman he's I like Brett Gelman. He's just so fun. But we're introduced to the concept of the Mind Flayer in this one as well. So another D&D monster. Of course, they explain it in crazy mythology, and they're like, well, that's just made up. But essentially, he does kind of possess people and strip them down to make them do his bidding. So it's kind of a scary thought, because it's a little bit like Exorcist, if you think about it, or that whole trope of being possessed. And they take Will, and I love how the kids were like going to use Will as like a spy to like the whole Harry Voldemort thing, to talk about, get back to Harry Potter.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But instead the Mind Flayer ends up flipping it, and he uses Will essentially as like a spy on
the Mind Flayer was actually pretty scary. Like when you think about it, like was it the end of season 1 or the end of season 2 where you get the shot of him like looming over the
end
town
of season
completely?
2.
Season 2.
Yeah.
So like
at the end of season 1, that's when Will just like spits up like one of those slug things. And then at the end of season 2, they think it's done. They close the gate, because the whole thing is Hawkins, that laboratory there in Hawkins, which is supposed to be run by the Department of Energy, actually was like an experimental, kind of what was it? Not that MK Ultra, that old CIA project. It was kind of like an MK Ultra kind of thing. And they accidentally tore open a gateway in time and space. And that's how the Mind Flayer was able to send his minions through and kind of get himself through as well. So at the end of season 2, they close it, but there was a piece of him still in Will. And when they get him out, by essentially burning him out, they made the host inhospitable. He was still around, and so they closed the gate, but that kind of left it open to.
That was such a great visual, though, of him looming over the whole town.
Yeah.
And like the flashes Will has were pretty scary there at the season. Whenever he'd get lost in the Upside Down, like he'd have those flashes. It was so well done.
The Upside Down reminded me of Prom Night 2. I don't know if you all ever saw Prom Night 2 with Hello Mary Lou. Yeah,
Jerry,
like a bathroom in there.
I thought you were going to just say it reminds me of Prom Night. So man,
you
should have
been there. It was crazy.
What? And I want to talk about another visual in season 2 too. How awesome was the because you're a holiday podcast, bringing up Halloween, which was when this season was set, the rotting pumpkin patch when Hopper walks in. That was such a great visual.
Yeah.
Like just like this thing from the Upside Down was like rotting the town from within, kind of. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So
that was really cool.
Season 1 takes place during Christmas. Season 2 takes place during Halloween. Season 3 is summer, right?
4th of July, yeah.
So would we assume that maybe season 4 will be spring if they're doing all the different seasons?
They should do spring. Then the tagline could be, on the third day, he rose again. And there's some mind flayer coming out again.
Perfect.
Zombie Jesus is coming.
Oh, no. And let's get to season 3.
Bob.
I like season 3 because I love going to the. What's that?
You just left Bob out of this whole thing.
Oh, we did leave Bob out. Bob sacrificed himself to save everybody.
Exactly.
He was a Demogorgon dog.
We got to mention the demo dogs.
What about
Those things were creepy.
Yeah.
Okay, I did love that Dustin plot line where he was raising the little.
Essentially,
Dart, the name's Dart, right?
Like when he locks him in and he's like, "I'm sorry, you ate my cat." He locks him in the cellar.
And not to give it away, I think we are reading scenes later, but I think you have it on your outline, Jerry, when him and Hopper get into the semantics.
I do, yeah. I really wanted I just wanted to hear you and CJ get into it. But yeah, so Dustin essentially raises a Demogorgon, and before they're like fully grown, they kind of are quadrupedal, and so they do look kind of like dogs. So demo dog is what they called it, Demogorgon dog.
And the way he approaches him when he's fully grown, "Hey pal, it's me." Remember, like when he's trying to like calm it down. I love that scene.
In season 2, do we meet Erica, Lucas's sister, or
we meet her briefly? Yeah, she has like a scene or two, and that's really it.
She's great.
Season 3 is where she really shines. Because she's like a main player in season 3.
Yes, and I think it's because in season 2, she has very minor like scenes, like you said, and when she's in it, she really is a scene stealer. So I think they were like, "Oh, we got to add her in."
She's fun.
And I love when movies and TV shows react to that, right? Like when they cast someone who's not supposed to be a main character and they become such a scene stealer, they're like, "Oh, we have to give them a bigger part."
Yeah.
Talk about the 80s, Urkel. Right? He wasn't perfect.
Newhart
example.
did it also with Larry, Daryl, and Daryl, you know?
Yeah.
Yep. Creed Bratton.
Creed, exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. So season 3 is kind of weird to me because, like I said, it almost seems like just two separate shows that then they just kind of merged at the end. It's still great. I still love it. I think I love it a lot just because of the malls. I have like huge nostalgia for like going to the malls, you know.
Was that the same mall they used in Fear Street? It looked exactly the same.
It could be. I don't know. I know it was an abandoned mall.
That's in Gwinnett over here in Georgia. It's like 40 minutes from my house.
Is it really? That's awesome.
Yes. I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
What happened, man?
I work 16 hours a day. I can't be an extra. You have to be available for 12.
Oh, so that's why you barely spoke during the melee.
Exactly.
I wouldn't be surprised then if it was an abandoned mall, if Netflix just used it for their other movies.
It was, and the crew built like I think 40, something like that, like whole actual stores to be used inside it. Yeah.
That'd be a
I
cool
mean,
job, man. Like if that's what you're good at, like just that would be fun.
Building
to do
80s
that.
malls.
It looks so real. Like the final few episodes where the climax of the season took place at the mall. It was awesome.
Hey, Jerry, I'm gonna head over there probably tomorrow, the day after, before you upload this,
Okay.
and get you some pictures of the place because it's really close to my job. So
Sweet. Send them.
Nice.
I'll take them.
It also looked like the mall in Wonder Woman 84, kind of.
Yeah, it kind of did. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we're introduced to Erica, and we're also introduced to Robin, who is his ice cream buddy and helps crack the Soviet code. It's like so Red Dawn, but
well, that's the 80s, right? That was when we
definitely
were
80s.
like,
oh yeah,
it's a Cold War.
The height
They're
of the
afraid
Cold
of
War.
Russia. Russia's
Yeah.
afraid of us. And I love, speaking of Robin, when her and Steve at the beginning, like they don't really kind of get along. She thinks he's kind of a loser. When Dustin walks in and him and Steve have their own handshake and everything, and she makes that crack about him being friends with a bunch of like 10-year-olds or however old they are.
Can we all first agree that this is like the worst season? It didn't hit for me.
It is,
yeah.
but it was still fun, which speaks to the quality of the show in general.
Yeah, it still was.
There was some good stuff with it, but there was a lot of, I call it
And
dragging your feet.
It's got the lowest.
It's a lot of filler stuff.
Yeah, it really is, and it's got the lowest Rotten Tomato score as well.
Yeah,
and it's also that awkward phase because like Harry Potter went through the same thing. When you cast them young, then they start going through the teenage years, and it's just awkward to watch as they grow up in front of your eyes. Like the fact that, and it was my favorite running gag in the season, though, the fact that we're watching Eleven and Mike constantly trying to find places to make out, and Hopper's like 3 inches.
That was great. Yeah.
This season actually has my favorite line, and I think it's my happiest moment. So,
Oh, sweet! Can't wait.
I'll keep it.
Can't wait to hear it. Yeah, it was. I mean, like I said, I think I like this one just because of the mall setting. You know, it takes a long time to like actually build something. So for them, the Soviets, to like build that huge tunnel and underground system, I mean, to me, it just seemed like that would be years, like of a project, not just a 1 year. Oh, hey, here's a mall kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I did like it. It's kind of like the main group was like separated into 2 factions, you know. So Dustin was like over here with Steve doing his thing, you know, and the girls.
And with his
Erica
girlfriend,
and
everyone
Robin.
thought was fake until the end. Which
That was a good bit. I liked that bit.
I like that
I
bit
find
too.
this is where television shows lose themselves, because
Story.
a lot of people like seeing everybody together, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like where Walking Dead lost their place. Like I know because people love seeing the main cast together. So once you break them up or divide them into certain groups, sometimes it just loses people's interest. That's why near the end it gets so much better, because everybody finally reunites. I know everybody's waiting for that, but sometimes I just feel like it just doesn't work.
Every now and then it's fine. Like I didn't mind when The Walking Dead first did that, but then when they started doing it every season, I was like,
Yeah. And I only like it when they're really doing character development or bridging some relationships. Like if they had done that with the girls, I think that would have been great, because all the kids are really coming into the, you know, teenage, preteen years. And 11 is literally a sponge trying to absorb what it means to be a girl. Yeah. And so that time with, I forgot her character's name.
Max.
That time with Max and them having a friendship, I think that was good.
Yeah.
But
when Max taught her to stand up to Mike, or what? I forget what she taught her to say. I love that.
But I agree with TJ. It does get kind of convoluted, unless you're like Friends, where you have all the episodes are starting from the beginning. They split up, but they always come back together in the end.
Yeah. Like, I mean, not to, I know CJ at least is a Walking Dead fan. I don't know if anyone else is, but like it made sense to me when they split them up when the prison was attacked and they had to go on the road last minute and they all got split up like that. But when they started doing it every season after that, it's like, no.
Yeah.
I will say though,
haven't you learned anything?
Yeah.
Morgan's episode where they show where he met his teacher and stuff. That was one of my favorite episodes. So it's good sometimes when they do split them up and kind of give a origin story per se, but they could have easily, I guess, gone with the girls and did maybe a mall day with them, with just them. And then I don't know, different things. Yeah, like you're saying, like 11 is a sponge doing different things with her. But I just feel like when they separated them into groups and like this new girl, and then they were trying to have that romantic situation there, and then 11 was having her issues, and it was just, I don't know, it just kind of got lost.
Well, for me, like it's better for me as well. Just sorry, last thing, Jerry. When when TV shows and movies do split things up like that, I like when they put odd couplings together that you wouldn't normally see hanging out, because that really helps character development, to what Danielle was saying. Like when you throw two people together who never interact and all of a sudden they're like, locked up in the basement of a mall or something.
That's why I really like that Erica, and like when Erica joined with Steve and Robin, that was really fun. Like that group was fun. And I mean, the only reason I really cared about Mike and Will and 11 in that group was just because they were really kind of going up against Billy, who was at this point is now being possessed by the Mind Flayer.
And Hopper and Joyce, like I liked seeing them together and getting hints of their past, but their storyline though was not my favorite in season 3.
Sucks. I mean, I wanted them to get together, but like
at what
something about it that just doesn't work.
Exactly.
I'm just gonna say, did anyone actually think for a second Hopper really died? Because the minute you saw him standing near that rift, you knew he was going in there.
Yeah, something was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Not for a second, no.
I mean, they did a good job playing the emotion of that scene. Like Joyce is very upset, and the voiceover at the end when 11's reading his letter and you see everyone starting to go their separate ways.
That got me. That got me. Yeah.
Yes. I was not okay after that.
Yeah.
I needed to have a moment.
I think that's one of my favorite tropes is your found family versus your, the kind of like he became her surrogate dad. They've all become like a family. I love that dynamic.
I did like Jonathan and Nancy, because they were having that issue essentially with work, how she was constantly being demeaned and they weren't respecting her. And I like how what's Gary Busey's son's name? Jake Busey was like the reporter that's just making fun of her the whole time, and then he literally like tries, he gets possessed and tries to kill her. And I mean, I thought that was, because who does crazy better than like Jake Busey, maybe Gary, but I mean, I thought that was
I'm telling you,
normal Gary.
What a lost opportunity that they never cast him as the Joker. You're like, just paint his face white and like that guy. Don't even give it.
He was great in The Frighteners. I love The Frighteners.
I've heard directors say like he's a really good guy, but he's just a nightmare to work with.
Do any of you watch Impractical Jokers?
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's cringy to the point I can't watch it, but I'll
he every now and then guest stars with them because like he'll come on and like be part of their pranks and stuff. But like, dude, the guy is just weird because it's not a scripted show. Well, I know, but it's like, he is.
I saw him in New York. Random story. I just saw him, and when you see him, he's a very tall man. You automatically know who he is. And I was like, oh, there's Gary Busey. And then he began to get into one of those smart cars, those tiny smart cars. And it was actually, I feel bad, but it was really funny to watch him try to get into that car and drive
There's
off.
an episode of The Simpsons where that happens, and Nelson laughs at this tall guy in a really tiny car, and then he makes an example of him. But that's what it reminds me of. We were telling me that. So we're wrapping up here, but so the Mind Flayer actually possesses or like kind of takes over people, and then like they explode essentially, and he uses like their, I don't know, meat, or I don't know what the right word is, their goo, to create like a corporeal form for himself. What did y'all think of that? Did you prefer like the shadow version, or did you like that one?
I mean, I prefer the shadow version, but I thought it was cool how he did that. Like, that's a very like scary concept. Yeah,
it was. Yeah.
Well, I'll say it's a tough thing to watch when you're eating pizza. Like, oh, that rat just exploded and looks like my pizza. Okay.
That's funny.
I'll tell you one of my favorite sequences in season 3 is when they face off against Billy in the
When they sing the
sauna, the
Neverending
pool
Story?
sauna.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that was a good. That was
Like
good.
where they just literally burn the hell out of him. Like they turn everything on high
Yeah.
heat. I love that scene. And she pushes him through the brick. She got really powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. 11's really.
I
Powerful.
love those scenes when 11 goes like.
Was
to
season 3
badass.
And then she
with the
kinda-
one with the awful episode where she's in Chicago?
No, that's season 2.
That
I was going to
episode
say something
I
about
skipped over that
but
on
was
purpose.
awful.
Yeah.
It
yeah.
totally derailed the whole narrative. It was crazy out of place.
Yeah.
I watched it, but every time I go back and watch it, I don't watch that episode. I just skip over it completely. But yeah, so at the end of season 3, they are able to defeat it. The Mind Flayer, they seal they make it explode and kind of seal the new rift that the Russians opened up with their experiments. And it seems like everything's back to normal, but 11 doesn't seem to have her powers. And that's kind of how it ends with Hopper being gone and the buyers and 11, who they've
Moving
kind of
away.
taken in, moving away.
Okay, I do have a theory about the Russians though.
Okay.
I'm kind of picturing here the Suicide Squad type thing where this whole time we think they're the bad guys, but really it's the Americans who started all this, and they're trying to pin it on the Russians.
Spoiler alert, man.
That's what I think. I think
Dun, dun,
ultimately
dun.
that's
Could be.
how
I mean,
it's
I
going to
don't
be
know.
revealed.
We would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for those little kids.
Those
And their
meddling
damn
kids.
demo dog.
Demo dog. They're demo dog too. I love it.
In season 3, I love I think it's in the last episode where Steve and Robin are in the bathroom. They've thrown up, and then Steve just like opens his heart to Robin, and I think he's trying to tell her he likes her and
Yeah.
stuff, and then she comes out of the closet to him. But I love how they're separated and the emotions going through on their faces, and it's just a powerful scene.
Yeah.
That was one of the many I got teared up at. It's just like, these guys are so good. It's beautiful acting.
Yeah.
I got teared up when I saw Hopper wearing that shirt, the Magnum PI shirt, because I was like, oh man,
Yeah.
we're in this era now.
Yeah, we
Okay.
are. If it was red, it would have been better.
I was expecting it to at some point him to wear a red one.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm excited for season 4. I don't know what they're gonna do for a villain, unless they just bring back the Mind Flayer and some more Demogorgons.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's my fear, and my fear is too, it's going to take a long time again to get the gang back together, because now you literally have removed the buyers from Hawkins in general.
Yeah.
So it's going to be half the season getting everyone back together.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And Hopper is in Russia as a prisoner, so it's going to take half the season to get him back with them.
It's going to be
And
Game
then-
of Thrones all over again.
It better be good.
Exactly.
Oh
Exactly.
no, don't say that.
Not the ending, and just meaning that you don't see the cast all together for a long time, which is really
okay,
annoying.
good. I was
Yeah.
like, please don't say season 8.
And I don't think And I think as well, we should start tempering our expectations, because we all love Hopper, that he's not going to be the same Hopper. I don't think he is after escaping to the Upside Down. I think he's going to have some kind of mind
Oh god.
problem like Will did.
Well, I always feel like with any of these things, all the bad guys or whatever come from something else. Like maybe they're just, the offshoots or the things the Power Rangers have to fight before they actually get the Megazord together or whatever. Like there's a bigger
nice
bad
analogy.
things.
Although I was more of a
I
Voltron
too
guy
am a
myself. I remember when Power Rangers came out, and my little brother, who's 5 years younger than I am, he was, he kind of was into it, and I was just like ragging on him the whole time, like Voltron did it first. And yeah, poor guy. He didn't deserve that. So it does. I do kind of wonder though, guys, what would you say would be your happiest moment with Stranger Things? It could be because there's not a lot of nostalgia here, so it's not necessarily memory, but maybe just like a scene, or if you do have some sort of external thing like Art kind of told us about with his watching it with his wife, it could be that too. But what do you say, CJ?
My favorite scene, well, there's a couple, but my favorite scene is when 11 has finally had enough and she just looks and says, I dump your ass. That's my absolute favorite. That is my absolute favorite scene in the whole show.
My happiest moment is so Stranger Things is really, I think, one of Netflix's 3 like flagship shows. Really, what really originals put them on the map with their original programming.
Yeah.
So I remember sitting down to watch it with Sarah for the first time, and no expectations other than, oh, the trailer cool, and we binged it in like 2 days. We loved it. And it's just the memories of binging it that quick and then realizing it was a whole community experience on social media because everyone found it at the same time and everyone was talking about it at the same time. And I love those communicative experiences like that. So this came at the right time. I have the experience with my wife and just all my friends, and that's awesome. I'll always associate with that. Yeah.
It was like Tiger King at the beginning of the pandemic.
Tiger King. You know what? Tiger King came out and everything went downhill after that. So yeah. What about you, Danielle? What would you say is your happiest moment?
Oh gosh, the entire show really just brings me joy. Like I said, it's really great that I can watch it with my family, and it's, you know, my mom, my brother, my sister, and we're so many different generations watching it. But I really, really enjoyed Erica's character. I loved being able to see, you know, obviously representation is a huge thing. And just to see a really fun, smart mouth, but smart, intelligent, young Black girl nerding out when she wants to and still being cool. I loved it. Her joining the show made me so happy.
I loved how Dustin was basically like, "You're a nerd." No, I'm not. It's like, yeah, and he like lists the reasons why.
she stole so many scenes, and
she did. 3. She was legit she was a great actress.
She was a bright spot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Manny, what about you?
Honestly, the waffles. It's the waffles. I mean, like I started
with food that he's eating in our Discord chats.
It's the waffles for me.
It's the waffles for me. I mean, I started watching the show, then I stopped watching. You know, like I reset. Then when I started watching with my wife, I went from season 1 on, and once you see her enjoying and obsessed with the waffles, our next shopping spree to Costco, we just got family size Eggo. And
hey Manny, I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through your Costco?
No. I mean,
no, don't walk us through Walmart.
No, it was from there. Then we're like, just filling the freezer with Eggos, and then we ate all those, and we're to the point where we have a few waffle makers because we're obsessed with waffles as of that time. Like I was really familiar with them, but it's not something so common in Puerto Rico. It's something you walk by the aisle and you don't get. But then after that,
if I ever visit Georgia, you're gonna have to make me a waffle. I haven't had a waffle in years. Honestly, it's crazy.
Oh, I have different remixes of waffles, so everybody's welcome.
Awesome.
And what about you, Art?
This is hard. I mean, they're all just really, really good moments in the show. I think my favorite is a line from Dustin in season 2, and this is where I really just felt connected to him. But he's going to the library, he's checking out all these books, and the librarian is telling him, you've reached your limit, you can't check out anymore. And he's trying to argue, and he says, he's like, "Oh, my mistake. However, I am on a curiosity voyage and I need my paddles to travel. These books are my paddles." And that was me as a kid. I mean, of all the 80s nostalgia there, that was a scene that I'm like, that's me.
Right on.
When I was a kid. Yeah. Trying to argue with the librarian. I need more.
So this is my favorite part of the show. Gag me with a spoon. This is where we do our best impression of our least favorite part of the show. Now, as the guests, I'll let you all go first. Just kind of set up the scene for us. Anthony, you've done this like more than anybody else, so we'll start off with you.
And I
kind of set up the scene and then go for it.
Sure. So I just want to set the scene for the podcast for Danielle, since she's new to the Christmas podcast network here. So on my podcast, Tis a Podcast, we have a segment every week where we all rank the movie we cover on a scale of 1 to 10. And it's a joke because we've been doing this for 4 years now. And every time it's like I'm unprepared. Like, oh, let me look at the list. Like, I have no idea what I'm going to give this. And they always make jokes like, yeah, it's not like we do this every week. Every time I'm on Jerry's show, I know this is coming. And every time I'm like, oh, what am I going to say? So once again, Jerry, I'm going to have to say, it's not my least favorite part, but I'm going to do I gotta do 2 Hopper quotes I love. And yes, I'm doing 2 because it's Jerry and you always find loopholes when I ask you to do something. So I'm doing the Jerry loophole.
I do. Yes, that's true. Well, they say, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Well, I don't believe in that. If I'm going to have a cake, I'm going to eat my cake. So
That's right.
I will make it work. I'm like Captain Kirk. I don't, in the Kobayashi Maru, I don't believe in an unwinnable situation. But okay, anyway, go ahead.
So this is the first one I have is when we first meet Hopper and we know nothing about him in season 1. And it just comes across as this grumpy, exasperated, small town cop who hates his job. And that spoke to me on like every level, except I'm not a cop. But when he walks in bright and early in the morning and his staff are trying to talk to him, he just kind of like raises a hand and brushes him aside and is like, mornings are for coffee and contemplation. And he goes into his office and slams the door on them. I love that. I love that. I had that coffee mug from Box Lunch. They sell it. And I love that. My other one I kind of alluded to before. This is season 3. 11 and Mike are going through puberty. They're constantly spending time in 11's room with the door shut. Hopper, literally, it's like one of the first scenes in season 3, sitting, staring at the TV, just rocking back and forth in his chair, trying to like block out everything behind him, but eventually just snaps and he's like, keep the door open 3 inches. And I do love, we mentioned it comes back at the end, which is one of my favorite tropes in TV shows, when someone dies, but they find the letter they wrote before they died. Mm-hmm. I love that. The letter, it's this really sweet letter where he's like, look, I don't know how to be a dad. I do love you though. It tear inducing. I love that the letter ends with, but please, if you don't mind, for the sake of your poor old dad, keep the door open 3 inches. And that just, I loved it. It's such a sweet way to end the season.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that Anthony has quoted the entire show,
yeah. I'll go.
Okay, go for it.
I should have 2 also. I wasn't sure where to go. If a line I did not like was with Billy when he was flirting with Mrs. Wheeler, and he's like, I could teach you if you like. I know all the styles: freestyle, butterfly, breaststroke. Really? Oh, that's subtle.
I loved that whole scene. I loved how the minute he walked out in his short little tight bathing suit, shirtless, all the moms just like put their sunglasses down and stare as he's walking around the pool. That made me laugh so hard.
Yeah. Well, the other one I was going to do was when Bob died and just the noise he made, as the dogs ate him from the inside out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor Bob.
Poor Bob. Yeah.
R.I.P. Bob.
That's right.
CJ, you want to go?
I don't know. Anthony took mine.
Okay, well then we'll do Manny.
That's what you get for taking my character assignment.
I'm sorry, I had no say in it whatsoever. You little crybaby.
I'm gonna go with Bob when he's walking into the store and there's all the orange jack-o'-lantern. He's like, "Hey, do you happen to have these in any other colors?" I mean, to me, it's funny because nowadays they do. I don't know. Back in the 80s, it was just orange.
Mostly just orange. Yep. That is true.
I do remember one now, though. I don't know. It's just one of the quotes I like when he's like,
"Did I take yours too?"
Maybe I should just kill Mike. I'm the chief of police. I could cover it up.
That was good.
That's a good Hopper line. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Danielle?
So the assignment is to say what you don't like, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure I don't mess up. For me, and I don't know how, like, we didn't talk about this, but as much as I love Joyce, the thing that drove me crazy in the first season was he came home last night, right? How do you not know your son is gone? You went to bed.
Yep,
and
she did.
You didn't know he was gone.
I'll say this about the 80s though. The 80s,
That's true. That was 80s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that felt super 80s to me. Like how the parents didn't care how late their kids stayed out or where they went on their own. They just had more faith in their kids than protective parents nowadays. It was a different
Wasn't
world.
like serial killing at an ultimate high in the 80s.
It could have been.
Satanic panic.
There was a lot of
Oh,
that
yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole D&D thing played into that. So for me, it's also in season 1, and Mike has gotten beat up, and he had like that cut on his chin, and he says he's talking to 11. He's, I guess, trying to impress her, and finally she's like, hey, friends, tell the truth, and he says, I don't know why I just didn't tell you. Everyone at school knows. I just didn't want you to think I was such a wasteoid, And I thought that word was funny. Wasteoid.
Wasteoid.
I don't ever remember saying it in the 80s. But hey, whatever. But that does make me wonder, G.I. Joe taught us that knowing is half the battle. What do you think the other half is? Manny?
Oh, you just put me on there again.
I did. Totally.
Skip me. I've been thinking of that the whole day.
This comes every time you're on, right?
Yes.
Okay, what about you, Art?
Okay. If knowing is half the battle, the other half is knowing that you can't spell America without Erica.
Ooh,
Oh.
nice.
I love that.
I love that line.
That's a good one.
That may have to be the title of the episode.
What about you, CJ?
I didn't really prepare for this. So knowing is half the battle. The other half is, even if you think someone is crazy when they're putting Christmas lights up in their house, somebody might actually be talking to them. That's the best I could come up with on the spot.
Perfect.
It's the best I could do.
I know it's true. Just believe them.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go with Anthony.
If knowing is half the battle, the other half is realizing that the friends you find, the family you find along the way, are just as important as the family you were born into.
Ooh.
It's true though, and that's how I feel about the Christmas podcast.
Oh,
Network, y'all.
shucks. Right back at you, bud.
I feel bad.
And you should have heard what he was saying about you before. He was like literally singing your praises, talking about how you were kindred and everything.
Who, me and Anthony?
Yeah, I was
Just
singing your
because
praise.
we're both big time a-holes.
Pretty much. That was pretty much my assessment.
We are cynical to the point of like lunacy.
Oh goodness. Danielle, what about you?
Oh God, this is hard. So what is it? If knowing is half the battle, then Dungeons and Dragons nerds have a leg up on the rest of the world.
Oh, that's true.
I
like that. I like that. What about you, Manny? Anything?
All right. If knowing is half the battle, the other half is what if? Like, what if frogs had pockets?
I don't get it, but okay.
I don't
feel
understand you, Manny. I think you need to help.
A rehash of a melee right there. I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm gonna give you some points. All right.
I got screwed pretty much. Is what
I know. I'm sorry, CJ. So for me, if knowing is half the battle, the other half is not using a slingshot against a creature from another dimension.
Oh yeah.
That made me laugh so bad.
I screwed up the line. I said if not knowing is half the battle. My bad. Whatever.
Don't worry
Keep
about
it in.
Oh,
I got it right
goodness.
the last time.
So let's plug our shows, and then I want to do something fun called quotes. So guys, what do you want to plug?
Who's going first? I'll just go
Whoever
first.
wants to go
Why
first.
ladies first?
Oh, ladies first, sure.
Ladies
Yeah.
Yeah,
first,
CJ,
I like
go.
that.
Oh, okay.
Ladies first.
I'm no lady.
That's why I said
Go ahead,
CJ,
Danielle.
go first.
You can go ahead, Daniel. Sorry.
Okay. What am I plugging? Oh, my podcast. Right.
That's correct. Yes. I hope so. Otherwise, I don't know. That's up to you. But
Well, I am one half of the Blockbuster duo from No More Late Fees, and we talk about everything from movies from 1995 to 2005. And we give them a great rating score that we based off of Blockbuster rentals. And really, it's just a dissection of what were we thinking when we saw the movie the first time around? And how does that match with what we think now after rewatching it? So we just have a fun time. We have potty mouth, so I'm sorry in advance.
Oh, that is awesome because my podcast would be rated MA if it wasn't for my co-host.
That's true. They bask in their virginity.
Yes, I do.
So if you love movies from that time period, then we're your gals. We have a lot of fun and we don't take ourselves too seriously.
Right on.
Do you guys ever do Christmas movies?
Yeah, we're going to do a Christmas movie this year, so we're super excited about that.
Have every single one of us on, except Danny. You'll say, "What movie did you like?" And he'll just say, "Eggos."
Well, all I know is, Danielle, I want to get you onto some podcast at some point.
Definitely.
And social media,
thanks.
where can they find you?
No More Late Fees. We are on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Wow.
Right on. Very cool. Art?
All right. I host the Cozy Christmas podcast, and you can find me on all the podcast platforms of your choice, I suppose. Let's see, but this is kind of a scoop here for you, Jerry. But I'm working on a website. So it
Nice.
if it works, it's cozychristmaspodcast.com. And it's kind of still being put together right now, but there's some stuff there. Basically, I want, my episodes will be there. I'll have a page of all the guests that have been on, a page of all the stories I've read, and links to the episodes. And it's very OCD, so I'm gonna have it all
Nice.
all organized. But
Hey, Art, speaking
Yeah.
of guests on your show, isn't there a very special guest coming up soon?
I think so. Yeah. Stay tuned. Chris and Chris from Christmas Time in the City will be on. And Anthony.
Uh-oh.
Those are fighting words right now.
I know. Especially since they took Best New Yorker. I
They're
didn't.
Floridians.
I didn't. Hey, man.
Edit.
I didn't. I didn't make that happen. People just voted, so I'm sorry.
What happened? I'm so confused right now.
So I did an award show based on like my first year. Yeah, the Totally Rad Christmas Awards, the Raddies, and one of my things was favorite guest New Yorker, and
And I was
Anthony
the
is
only real New Yorker.
real New Yorker that was actually a part of it, and he didn't win. People did not vote for him.
They had me, the real New Yorker. Chris and Chris were Floridians, and his brother,
And my
who's
brother
a Texan.
from Texas who moved to New York
I don't understand why they were even nominated in the categories.
because
if
they
weren't.
Thank you.
moved
The-
to
the
New York
acad-
and they lived
the-
there. That's
The
why.
Academy, the Academy didn't take that. They cheated.
Oh my God. So does that mean that next year I could be nominated in that category? And then Anthony will get mad again because I'm a New Yorker
But
slash
but you're
Floridian.
a
He's-
New
he would
Yorker.
actually
who moved to
respect
Florida.
that choice
I
because
would
you're
respect
actually
that more.
from New
Yeah.
York.
Oh, okay.
Oh, but Jerry let me at least present that award. So when I was reading the nominees, I was like, from Florida, Chris and Chris. From Texas, David Davila.
Yeah.
From New York, Anthony Caruso.
Yeah, lifelong New Yorker, Anthony
How are
Caruso.
you announcing your own category? Isn't that against the rules?
No, he was I purposely designed it so that he would, but it was the Tis the Podcast folks were my guest hosts then, so we all kind of like took turns. It's a fun episode. I mean,
Yes,
It's a really
yes, it
fun
is.
episode. You should check that one out.
I tried to make
Definitely
it
gonna
as
do
much as
that.
like a real award show as I could. But
They really lean into Anthony is the heel of the Christmas podcast.
yeah, we really played up the caricature.
Don't worry, I
Yeah.
took it over for you, Anthony.
Yeah, I think you did. I
think you might have.
Well, yeah.
Good news is this
Wait,
episode's
so-
up for a Raddest bonus episode, which is a new category for next year.
Nice.
But
Nice.
anyway, we're doing plugs.
So he took the one award I would have won, the heel. Now I don't even have that in my life.
I'll get a new bit for next year. Don't worry.
Stay tuned for my episode with Anthony, because we revealed a softer, kinder side of
Oh,
Anthony.
there we go.
Thank you.
Oh, Anthony
The Griswold
exposed.
side.
Anthony exposed.
CJ, why don't you tell us about your show next?
Oh, geez. I host Christmas Conversations. It is an interview-based podcast about everything Christmas. All we do is basically shoot the shiz, because Jerry doesn't want me to swear. We do cuss a bit on there,
Thank
but
you.
not too much. We keep it in the Christmas spirit. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's christmas.conversations. And if you want to follow me on Facebook, it's Christmas Conversations. I will never ask you to like and subscribe. I will never start a Patreon, and I will never promote it to the point where you hate me, because honestly, it's a labor of love. And if you want to listen, fine. If you don't, go to hell.
I will ask you to join my Patreon. I'd like money, please. Thank you.
And that's a perfect segue for Tissa Podcast. I am 1/3 of a show called Tissa Podcast. The podcast is determined to keep the Christmas spirit alive 365 days a year. And our motto is so well known. Jerry was mouthing it just now.
Love
Me
it.
and my co-host Tom and Julia every week cover a different Christmas movie, TV show, or episodes of a regular TV show, and we rank them on our Christmas canon list on a scale of 1 to 10. So 4 years in, we have a list of hundreds of movies ranked, and it's fun. It's lots of trolling, lots of fun discussion, lots of fun guests. Jerry is essentially our fourth co-host.
I've never been on.
Anytime you need me. I'm there.
You're gonna come on later this year. We're gonna get Danielle on for sure. Manny's been on. We need Art on. It's fun though, and we also have a Patreon where we cover non-Christmassy things, in which Jerry is essentially my one co-host. So
That's true. That is true. We do.
if you like hearing Jerry, which I assume you do, and Manny is showing off pins of our podcast that we send out to patrons. But if you're like Jerry, which I assume you do because you're listening to Totally Rad Christmas, check out our Patreon and give us some money. So
I'm a patron. I support you.
Yeah,
that's true.
Same here. All right, Manny, you're up.
My podcast says Feliz Christmas, Merry Navidad. And where can you find me? You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at FCMN Podcast. You could also go to fcmnpodcast.com. And these guys showed me how to get on every single podcasting platform. So just look for Feliz Christmas, Merry Navidad. And the reason I'm here is actually Tis the Podcast. Julia liked my accent, so I just went from there. And yes, do not like and follow Christmas Conversations.
I have 2 episodes. I already have more listeners than Manny.
I think that's more episodes too.
Wait. So CJ, I don't know.
Just kidding.
CJ, I don't know if you heard what Manny just said. You have Julia to thank for just complimenting his voice for why he watched.
I actually remember
podcast
hearing that.
and became your arch nemesis.
Nemesis.
No, I love Manny deep down.
Yeah.
We all
It's like
love
that
Manny.
We know.
Stupid little
We all
brother
love
that
each
you
other
have.
deep down. Even Tom
Yeah,
and
and
Anthony.
We do.
Yeah.
Jerry hears us off mic where we drop our bits and can be sweet sometimes.
It's true. I'm a witness, but I won't swear to it in court.
I could just see Jerry's face. He just is like, I'm gonna have to edit so long.
No, I'm getting back to the point where editing's not so bad anymore. But for a while there, preparing the Raddies and after the Raddies, I was like, I want to watch TV. I'm not doing this at all. So I just needed
real quick, and you can cut this part out.
Okay.
Next year's our 5-year anniversary, so we want to do not an award show, a clip show. So part of the plane ride tomorrow to Newfoundland, I'm going to be going through very old episodes and just pulling out.
God bless you, sir. It's
Oh
rough.
my
I mean,
gosh,
it's
you guys
rough.
have been doing it for 5 years. When you said that, I don't know if you've seen that video going around with Kevin Hart and Don Cheadle, where he's like, "I'm 56," and Kevin Hart goes,
Yes.
"Damn, that's what I wanted to do now."
Yeah, it's 4. It just hit. We just hit 4 years 2 days ago.
So next year will be 5. Yeah.
Next year will be 5. So I have a year to pull all the trolling. That's what she says. All the random stuff I can create montages of.
It's rough because you got to go through like the whole episode essentially, and
all the
which is
times
why
you
I haven't
Jerry's
gotten
name
to listen to any of my favorite episodes because I had to listen to mine. Like, okay, I need this clip here. It's terrible. I don't
Jerry,
like
you're gonna have your
myself.
whole montage on our show because you're the 4th guest you're talked about so often.
That's true. That's true. I am. And y'all butchered my name for like the first.
Oh yes,
year.
I was gonna say that. Yes,
Series Davila. Yeah. But that's okay.
Well, it took you a year to correct us.
I didn't want to bother y'all. But that
I saw it on Facebook. I was gonna say, isn't it Davila? But I'm like,
it is.
I'm wrong. I'll just write it out.
Now, before we close out here, I want to get to one last bit that's new for this show. It's called Say What? And we're going to just do a couple of quotes here. Now, a couple of us are going to be doing double duty. So Manny was originally cast as Jonathan Byers, but when our Lucas fell out, Manny graciously took up the mantle of Lucas. So he's going to be playing both parts here.
I think he's better cast as Lucas than Jonathan anyway.
Well, he was. Long story. I'll tell you later. I'll tell you when it's just you and I. But so Manny will be playing double duty, and as well, Danielle, if you wouldn't mind, would you be both Joyce and 11?
Of course.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's do a couple of scenes, guys, from some of these seasons here. So why don't we just start from season 1, and we'll take a look. So Manny, you go first, and then this is between Manny and Art. So it's Jonathan Byers and Will Byers, and they're talking.
Do you even like baseball?
No, but I don't know. It's fun to go with him sometimes.
Come on, has he ever done anything with you that you actually like? You know, like the arcade or something?
I don't know.
No? All right. He hasn't. He's trying to force you to like normal things, and you shouldn't like things because people tell you you're supposed to, okay?
I like that scene. That was a good character development scene for me.
Oh my God.
Manny, you did so much better reading that than my child. I'm joking.
I was gonna say that.
To do it live.
I was actually gonna say that.
I'm joking, man. No, seriously, I appreciate you reading my.
You know what?
Yeah,
I'm about to redo it again, and then.
Okay, so this is even though it says Tom, this is actually Manny as Lucas. So this is between Lucas, Dustin, and
wait. Now you want to hear me read again?
Yes, I do. This is between Lucas, Dustin, and Mike. And this is after they see 11 like do some really cool things with her powers, and they're like discussing it. And I just like this because they mention X-Men. So let's go ahead and action.
So, do you think 11 was born with her superpowers like the X-Men, or do you think she acquired them like Green Lantern?
She's not a superhero. She's a weirdo.
What does that matter? The X-Men were weirdos.
Well, if you love her so much, why don't you marry her?
What are you talking about?
Seriously, Mike?
What?
You look at her like, hi, I love you so much. Would you marry me?
Shut up, Lucas. And a scene. And the final
wait. This is confusing here.
Oh, okay. Just read both Manny and Tom. Yeah. Okay. So this final scene here it's from the very last episode of season 1. This is where Will Byers had been found. He's in the hospital and he finally wakes up. He was almost dead essentially, and he finally wakes up. So this is between Jonathan Byers, Mike, Danielle. You'll be playing Joyce in this one, and then we have Dustin and of course Will and Lucas. And action.
Jonathan enters the waiting room and nods to Mike. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Guys, he's up. Will's up, guys, come on. Byers.
Be careful with him.
Move.
Guys, go easy on him. You won't believe what happened when you were gone, man.
It was mental.
You had a funeral.
Jennifer Hayes was crying.
And Troy peed himself.
What?
In front of the whole school.
You okay?
Oh, I forgot to cough.
Oh,
There.
you okay?
It got me. Sorry, I got the giggles now. It got me. The
Totally leaving all
Demogorgon.
this in. We know.
Okay.
It's okay. It's dead. We made a new friend. She stopped it. She saved us. But she's gone now.
Her name's 11.
Like the number?
Well, we could call her L for short.
She's basically a wizard.
She has superpowers.
More like a Yoda.
She flipped a van with her mind.
And it sailed over us.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. I'm totally leaving all that in, by the way.
Well, then I lost my place too. So
No worries. Oh man. Okay. So this
good.
is season 2. This is Hopper and 11. And I love these interactions here. So I really wanted to keep them in.
Ready?
Yeah, go for it.
So what? We're just not going to talk about it now, huh?
About what?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just curious, why all of a sudden you look like some kind of MTV punk.
MTV punk. Oh man. It's so ridiculous, but I love it.
yeah.
Oh man. Okay. And then this next one is I had to keep in as well, mostly because I just wanted to hear CJ and Anthony go at it. But this is when Hopper and they're making their plan, and Hopper and Dustin are talking. And
It's not like it was before. It's grown a lot. I mean, that's considering we could get in there. The place is crawling with those dogs.
Demo dogs.
I'm sorry, what?
I said demo dogs. Like Demogorgon and dogs. Like you put them together. It sounds pretty badass.
How is this important right now?
It's not. I'm sorry.
All right. So this is Mike and 11 talking. This is where at the very end of the season 3, and she's leaving. They're moving away. She's going with the buyers. Okay, go ahead.
Did you talk to your mom? What happened?
Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I just
And
want to talk to
action.
the director because I cannot on this, like
Can't work with people like Anthony.
it's just
Look at
So
him. He's turning into a
disrespectful
goddamn
to my
tomato.
craft.
We need her on a Merry Melee for
Yeah.
sure.
I love her. She's awesome.
She's gonna kill you all.
We broke Anthony, guys.
I think we did break Anthony. Okay.
Apologies.
And action.
Did you talk to your mom about Thanksgiving?
Yeah. I got the okay. I'll be there. And then I was thinking maybe you could come up here for Christmas, and Will too. You can come here before or after Christmas or whatever Mrs. Byers wants. But I was thinking Christmas Day could be super fun because we'd all have our cool new presents to play with. And sorry, that made me sound like a 7-year-old.
I like presents too.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I like presents too. And a scene.
Beautiful.
Nice.
If I don't get my Academy Award for this, I am coming for Anthony.
Uh-oh.
Jerry, I want to face her in a Merry Melee.
I
Hey,
think you
Jerry, are we
should.
gonna have the beard next year?
What's that?
The beard awards?
Yeah, we'll definitely have it because Ron Hogan is.
Ron Hogan would that without like a contest.
That's why we got to have it. And finally, one last one. This is between Mike and Will, and I just thought it was a super sweet scene. And I needed Art to have one more thing to do. So,
Oh, thanks.
and we'll go ahead and go.
I think you're first.
Oh, I am first. How about that? Okay, okay, I'm cutting that out. And whoa.
Boing.
Okay, so this is where he's giving away his stuff, and so Mike says, "Whoa, dude, that's the donation box."
I know. I'll just use yours when I come back. I mean, if we still want to play.
Yeah, but what if you want to join another party?
Not possible.
And then I smile. Oh.
Aw.
Aw.
Guys, this has been a lot of fun just talking about this show with y'all.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for being on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks
Thanks for
having
having
us.
us on.
Like anything?
I
Crickets for a bit.
I'm just gonna throw this out there.
Uh-huh.
If CJ and Anthony want to, send a happy birthday to FCMN, won't bother me.
I forgot. I'll give it to you. Sorry.
Oh,
You
you wanted an audio recording.
Yes, he did.
Oh, I thought like yesterday when I was editing your thing, you're like, "Hey, do you mind throwing in a happy birthday?" So I threw in a happy birthday in your chat.
And that's why I keep having Anthony back on. But on that note, I'm going to end it by saying Merry Christmas, Hop. So check us out on our social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you're feeling like the gang when they find Will, leave us a review on iTunes. Not only does it help us reach more people, but you also get a free sticker. Now, don't forget to vote. Later, dudes.
Throw on your Jinkos, Baby Tees, and Doc Martens, grab your Lisa Frank Trapper Keeper, and join Jackie and Danielle on a journey to the late 90s as we reminisce about the movies of our youth on the No More Late Fees podcast. Don't forget your flannel and butterfly clips. And remember, be kind and rewind.